All right. It's that time. It's time for Beyond Sight and Sound. Let's do this.
Are you looking for a high-quality beach and sand scoop? Are you trying to take your hunting to the extreme? How about an American-based company that stands behind their product and everything they sell? Then check out our friends over at XTREME Scoops. John has been making scoops for some time now and makes a quality beach and sand scoop to take your hunting to the next level. XTREME Scoops recently released their new sand shredder that works great in the water and on the beach. And if you're a new Equinox user, you may want to check out his Surfmaster X3 that can trap those small targets you new Equinox users are finding out there. XTREME Scoop's company approach is let's do it right. So do it right, buy it once, and go to the extreme. XTREMEScoops.com. That's XTREME Scoops.com.
Hey boys and girls, we are going to talk about S&W shooters and prospectors. What is S&W shooters and prospectors?
We at S&W Shooters and Prospectors help people find treasure.
Did you say treasure?
Yes, treasure. Just listen to this amazing review from our happy customer, Jackie Sparrow.
Chocolate shipshape and a pleasure to deal with. I was able to buy everything that I needed at prices that were shillings less than others. I found my 9 pieces of meat in no time. Savvy?
I know you're asking yourself, why should I shop at S&W Shooter and Prospectors?
Chuck Smalley has over 45 years of metal detecting experience. He works with each customer one-on-one to customize their setup to match their skill level.
So if you always dreamt of being a pirate, contact Chuck at S&W Shooters and Prospectors and he'll take a great deal for you.
iPads and rum not included.
Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show. All right, we're back. We're live once again. You are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound, metal detecting and treasure hunting radio for all the really cool digging people out there. And we see that there are a lot of them dropping in. Definitely. Because who doesn't like to hear about gold? I know I do. I know you all do. And, well, who doesn't like finding it? But the next best thing to finding it is hearing about people find it. So we'll get into that here in a few minutes. Definitely. So we see that the Bills are in. Frank, Steve, Chuck, Dennis, Lewis. Lewis is in from Vancouver Island. Actually, we've got a post up in the Beyond Sight and Sound group where people can share the links to their YouTube videos. Frank, not me, it's overrated. Well, what Frank means to say is he just parts with it easier than most people do. When he finds a piece of gold, usually it doesn't even make it home. It's gone that fast. Definitely. But speaking of Frank, well, first and foremost, links in the chat, in the description, our friends at Shooters and Prospectors, A.I.P, Extreme Scoops, DETECTEES, TheRingFinders, Terry Shannon's website, NOCTA website, Midwest Refineries. We've also got Ohio Metal Detecting, Detect Dead Outdoors, All Metal Militia, Crazy Spider Adventures, all on YouTube. We've got Detect America, Metal Detecting Central Illinois, Iowa Treasure Hunters, Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound, all on Facebook if you're into the Facebook group thing. And if you are, those are some links to some very informative electrolysis videos. And you can catch Frank, Steve, and Ronnie live 8 p.m. Mondays. Multicasting, I believe, Facebook, YouTube. Monday was the first attempt at simulcasting Detect America in the Detect America group and Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound group. I believe we've found there's a couple of little bitty hiccups that we've got to watch out for. Mike McKee was actually one of the winners Monday. I don't know if he... I don't know if he wound up messaging Frank or not. I know Frank told him to message him if he was still listening at that point. Because we've found out that not all the comments show up in the same chat. So I'm not sure, moving forward, I'm not sure how that'll work. I mean, it was in there. It was obvious. I'm sure if Frank goes back and looks, he saw it as well. Not to mention there were a couple of us that did message him, so that he did know that Mike was in the chat, because it's hard. Well, it's great that people are able to cast in multiple places. But it's hard to try and keep track of all of those chats. I don't even know how they're able to keep track of YouTube and Detect America at the same time. I can barely keep track of one chat, let alone 2 or 3. Good grief. But we did learn a little bit of a thing or two. And moving forward, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, everything went okay. I don't know. It's hard to say. Definitely. So, welcome to everybody. Yeah, apparently each page is independent of the other. Thought it was all the same chat. It sounds like they're going, man, how do we keep track of all these chats as well? and that's something, moving forward, we'll see what happens. But other than that, good show, good guest, good time. And those that did choose to tune in from the Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound Facebook group, I do believe they enjoyed the show and enjoyed themselves, enjoyed the content, all of that. So, other than that, I think that was about all that I had to. For people who may have missed it, both Chris Gibson and Ed Olson have posted up. They have received their prizes. Ed received the, I want to say the LG30 coil the other day, and like a day or so later, Chris Gibson did receive his Legend that he's very thrilled to get. And I am no longer vividly purple. It was time for a haircut, and it all went away. Now I'm brilliantly white. But anyway, how's it going, Chuck?
It's going pretty good. You know what? I'll bet Steve was pulling his hair out. Oh, wait a minute. That wouldn't work. Just trying to keep up.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't think anybody was trying to keep up because we didn't factor in, and I didn't even give this a thought either, that all of the chats would be independent. I figured it all funneled into the same chat, but apparently it doesn't, and that's how we find these things out. So I'm not sure if a whole lot can be done about that moving forward. We'll just have to see. Time will tell. I mean, this is all kind of experimental and seeing what sort of hurdles there are and things of that nature.
Right.
But after Sunday's show, apparently Chris Gibson had hit the archives or came in a little late or something like that and said that a friend of his had wanted you to tell the story of a gold coin that you had found, and obviously there's been multiple gold coins found. Yes. Who knows what story it is? Right.
I have as many as a couple of them, but I have some good ones. I found some pretty cool stuff, but my favorite we'll get to in a little bit, but I found gold pocket watches. I've got 3 of those.
Right.
Yeah, I've been fortunate with that. And gold rings and gold and diamond rings, but not as many. I don't have the beaches here that they've got in Florida and down along, the whole coastal area where many are lost. We find a few here and there in the middle of a farm field, most recent.
Right.
And, nice 14 karat. And then another one last year. I found several last year. Yeah. And, but
yeah, I mean,
the ones that have surprised me haven't been necessarily found as a gold coin, but they were in something. So,
right.
One gold pocket watch that I found came out of an air duct. They were tearing the place down.
Well, now that's interesting.
And I don't have a good picture of that. I should post it up. That was 4 years ago. I found that. And that one is a 14 karat gold pocket watch. And the other one that's pictured is 10. And actually, it's worth more in gold than having the watch repaired. It would cost me as much to have the watch repaired as the value of the watch. So I had them put a new glass on it. That was it. Snap in a new glass, and it sits in a display case.
Yeah, it's tough to find them with the glass intact. It does happen, right. But it's tough.
And other gold baubles over the years, I found a really nice little women's compact and opened that. And that was when we were at Detectapalooza. And inside of that were two really nice hoop gold earrings with turquoise, pearl, gold beads and stuff. And I've still got it. It sits in a display case. Jill always tells me she's going to repurpose the beads, but it's just the way it is. And I found other compacts with money in them. And the one that I think they were talking about, they wanted to hear about, was the one that I found. It was late October. I was working in an area that had, in this one block, 3 churches at one time, and a big drop ravine between the 3 that was all cleared out over the years, and they sledded it. And I found quite a bit of stuff on that higher part, and it's a deep ravine. It gives them a good run on their early toboggans and sleds. And
Absolutely.
I got a signal with the 30-30, and it was deep, and I was thinking a large scent, because I'd found large scents there. Rang about that range on the 30-30, dug it up, and here's a compact. Well, it was smashed in a bit, so I just flipped it in the back pouch and didn't feel anything rattling around in it, and took it home. Well, it sat in the back of the truck for about a week, and finally brought the pouch in. I had found a silver cup, a child's silver cup, but unfortunately it was totally smashed down. It had hallmarks on it, and I was trying to determine whether it would be worth anything if I had somebody try to repair it. And going over that, showed it to Jill. She was too bad, because she said, I think that was totaled. It was cracked and different stuff, so there was not much we could do with it. So I going through the stuff, and there's that compact I hadn't opened it. I always try to get them open. Always open it. If you find compacts, open them up, because you will hit some with money in them, small jewelry, all kinds of stuff. And the bigger the compact, the better the luck. But this was just one of those small square compacts. And I'm picking at it, and I'm running. It had a crack in it, and I'm running water in this. I don't know what some of these things the gals put on their face had in it, but the stuff coming out did not look good. Finally, I picked at the lock enough on the front. It had a latch that dropped down and snapped on. Opened it up, and I about fell over. Inside of it is the gold coin that you guys see, just laying there, and the glass was not broken, and some of the powder puff was still intact on the top side. I rinsed that gold coin, and it looks like the day it was struck.
Wow.
And what was neat about it is the compact was mellow glow. I could take and wet it out, and you saw lines and a gal on there, kind of like a couch. So I Googled that, and they made that compact 1 year, and 1 year only, that style. It was 1928.
Wow.
But I was a hair's breadth away from pitching it.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing you didn't.
Well, Joe didn't stand there. Well, you better open that up. And as I opened it up, I said, oh, there's something rattling in here as the dirt came out and got more and more. And I popped it open. And the one picture has that. I don't know if you posted that one. You can see the compact it was in. I've still got that, too. And I found gold in Europe, coin. I found it. There was a barn, an old barn that had a long lean-to built on the side of it, and it was the full length of the barn. And it actually, at one time, been used to house the owners of the farm, because they'd had a fire in the farmhouse, and it was brick. It still stands. They'd redone it, but it took them almost 2.5 years to get it done. I knew the owners of it. They'd torn the floor up, and were going to. They did rebuild this barn. It was beautiful, heavy wood beams, big solid walnut beams in there, and they rebuilt it, and it's pretty neat structure. But the flooring had been taken up, so I was down in between the joists, hitting the dirt, and I swept a coil over, and I heard something, but I saw it move as I went over it in the dust under there and dirt. And I just brushed it off, and there was a 1917 $5 gold piece.
Wow. It's just basically laying right on top of the ground.
Yeah, I've been stuck on the $5 gold piece mode. I found a fair share of them over the years. And it's always a thrill. I don't care if it's a $1 one like Barb found, or the 5s like I found. I did break the mold. I found a 3 guinea 1806 British gold coin over in England, and others that I had dug up many, many years ago, and some of them were just strictly like the other two, kind of an accidental find.
Nice.
But, you know, for those of you out there, if you found a gold coin, it's a thrill. You know it. One of my bucket listers, you know, finding a $20 gold piece would be amazing. I mean, there's just not that many of them dug up individually laying around. Some are found on the beach. They're encased in a pendant. I've seen that. But my neighbor come over one day, and he had talking to me, telling me about he was re-roofing the house. He had a kid working with him that was from town north of me in Iowa there. And he said, hey, you got to talk to him. He's got something to show you. So I walked over, and he come down. I said, what you got? And he pulled out a St. Gaudens $20 gold piece. They had been doing some cleanup on the place that he's in. It was a family place. And they pushed, with a blade, pushed the gravel around, going to edge the driveway and make it look better and this kind of stuff. And somewhere along the line, he went out to get in his car one morning to go to work, and he saw something gold in color laying just up the driveway. He thought, what is that? Walked over and picked up a St. Gaudens that they'd flipped up doing yard work.
Wow. That's...
Line of sight.
Yeah. Wow. That is something else. And like you said, that those $20 pieces, they don't pop up a whole lot.
No.
They're just... When people lost something like that, that was a large enough coin. They looked for it. They found it. There's not many of them out there to be found.
Oh, no. So that was the one in the compact was a chance find, but I found other compacts that have had standard livery quarters in them. Indian head pennies, couple dimes, jewelry inside a larger compact. Just different things like that over the years, and gold coins and hidden things inside of houses. That one pocket watch in the ductwork, I don't know if it was hidden or accidentally got in there, but I take it may have been hidden. And that kind of stuff. And I've dug a couple. And
Well, it looks like he's still there. But the connection kind of went out there a little bit. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, he's there, but we're not hearing him now. Or he's not hearing us, or something like that. And it could be we've got bad weather through the area. I know we've had, well, Chuck has had quite a bit of rain.
There you are.
There we go. And I know we're getting quite a bit of rain, so.
We're getting ice.
Oh my.
Yeah, we got a pretty good coat of ice, and they got some pretty good winds rolling in. So it could be a long night around here.
Right. How much rain did you guys get today before it turned to ice?
Probably 3/4 of an inch to an inch.
I know we've gotten quite a bit. I don't think there's any danger of it turning to ice for us. I think it's supposed to be 60 tomorrow.
Well, this the worst of it's north of us, but we did get some ice coating here, and we're supposed to, the winds as this thing goes, are supposed to pick up to 30, 40 mile an hour. So trees down on power lines is my agenda for tonight, I think.
Oh my. Well, let's hope not.
Right. So I don't know where I got cut off at.
I believe it was a compact with quite a bit of jewelry in it.
Yep. So that is the one that I found. You were there on the beach.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right up in front of him, 15 feet from him. He's sitting in a chair talking with Gretchen, and I said, look at here. You got the compact, look at it. And Jill opened it. I handed it to her. She was sitting with Gretchen. And she said, this is neat. So, nice gold beads, pearls, coral, and turquoise. Great big hoops. She always said she's going to repurpose those for something, but she's never figured it out.
Huh. Yeah, I do remember that. That's been about 10 years ago now.
Right.
And that one, I had to kind of laugh because there were, I mean, I won't mention any names or manufacturers, but there had been a gentleman there that was trying to talk up a machine and how deep it would go and everything. And you wound up just going right through there and moving along, and all of a sudden you hit that.
Yep. So if you dig compacts, you better open each and every one of them, because the gals like to have, that's something they can slide into the pocket. They didn't need a purse. They have a little change in them, or, I got to put this in the purse and it's lost. They lost it with their earrings. I've seen guys that have found them with a small ring in them. It's just a little hidey spot. That's all.
Right. Yeah. Another way to transport items or whatever. I know the one with quite a bit in there like that you had quite the audience for that. There were probably 10 or 12 of us sitting there watching you dig it and passing it around after it had been recovered.
Yep. So
that was a good find.
That old tagline, gold's where you find it.
Right, yeah, it's under the coil. You just got to get the coil there.
And my favorite detecting is always hunting gold, but in a different area and different style.
Right. Yeah, usually you're looking for natural gold.
Yep. But we'll take them all. Any way you get it. Frank could be the same way. All of you, Steve, whoever, Susan's on there, Bob. Yeah. Gold. I mean, even Barbie finding one out in the battlefield area, which doesn't surprise me. Others have been found out there. And they stash stuff and end up going to battle and not come back, or lose it during battle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've said before, I'll take it in any way, shape, or form I can find it. It's just, usually for me, it's in the form of jewelry, and half the time it's in the form of jewelry that can be or gets returned.
Right.
But
right.
There have
it's
been
a fun
nice
thing
ones.
to have happen, and I've been blessed and gotten quite a few when I have been tickled with that. And going over to England and standing in front of Ryan Guinazzo while he's talking the phone 15, 20 feet away and dig up a gold coin right in front of him, that was priceless.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Damn.
I'm sure that one kind of had him licking his wounds for a little bit.
Yeah, he was all wound up. He still gets wound up talking about, you took my gold coin. No, I didn't. You weren't even there. You were just a little ways away.
Yep, you were busy talking on the phone. Somebody had to go after it. Does he still do the gold ball on those tours?
He didn't. No, I don't know. good question. I don't know if he's been doing that, resurrected it or not.
Because it's been a while since I've seen one of those clips. I didn't know if maybe he had went away from it or what had happened.
I don't know. I remember seeing that too, and I know the guy that found his gold's got to buy the pints at the pub that night.
Well,
that can get...
yeah. But if you're the guy that found the gold, I guess there's not a whole lot of complaining happening at that point.
Right. So, no. But that's a thrill. Any of you guys ever found a gold coin, call in. Tell us your tale here. We've heard Barb. She can tell it again.
Right. I know somebody was asking in the chat earlier if anybody's ever pulled a loose brick out of a wall and found a stash of coins behind it.
I wish.
I know of people that have done it, but I have not.
Well, for those of you going to Galena up to Stockton, Illinois for the hunt, detecting the Heartland this year, when you go you drop down the hill, you cross the river there. Just as you're going up the hill again, there's a small stone house there that sits there. And back in the late 80s, that's when Chicago was finding Galena and buying up property and renovating these places. These houses are gorgeous. They're all been renovated, redone. And those of you that get to go there, that house on the right, and you can tell it's a real pretty little place as you go up the hill on the right-hand side. They were tearing into the walls in there. Now, this is a solid limestone building, but they had interior lath walls. As they opened it up, one of the workers saw something drop out and hit the floor. He reached down and picked up a $20 gold piece. So they started pulling more lath out, and that entire wall, the 3 foot by 6 foot in between the lath and the boards, was gold coins. And that was well documented. I mean, that hit the news up here.
Yeah, I'll bet. Something like that, it's kind of hard to keep out of the media. Because usually somebody's opening their mouth saying something.
Right. And Jason just asked me a question. He's got a question for me here. Do I know why the R&B Innovation rechargeable batteries are getting impossible to find? Those are made in China or Malaysia, either one. I don't know which. And things are getting real tight on getting into the country with that stuff. So I can't give you any more than that, and I could call him and ask. But I know they're getting batteries in now from overseas is getting tight. So we'll see what happens, because almost all of our equipment now has switched totally over from alkaline to
rechargeable battery systems.
Rechargeable lithium-ion batteries. And LiOH batteries are expensive, and I don't know if there's holdups at customs with all this going on that we've got going on in the world right now. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good point. It kind of makes you wonder.
Yep.
Now, I did I did talk to a gentleman once that there may have been a gold coin in with that. He got dropped off again.
Uh-oh.
No, he didn't.
I'm here. I'm listening.
Yeah, you're there. Somebody must have tried to
call
in.
Pacifico found a nice little, I think it was a $1 gold too. Stevie found one. Frank's found one.
Right. Yeah, I don't know who that was. Somebody tried to call in and we missed the call.
Aha.
I did talk to a gentleman once that they were in an old, I guess it was an old cabin that had a stone fireplace. And they wound up, there was this handmade mantle piece, or mantle on top of the fireplace. And they had wound up going to move that just to see, they were checking to see if there were any loose stones or bricks or anything like that around this fireplace. And when they moved that mantle, they heard coins hit the floor. And there were quite a number of old coins that had hit the floor. And one of those coins was a pristine condition 20-cent piece.
Ooh.
Yeah. That would, it's not gold, but those are kind of tough to find too. And especially just to have one kind of fall out from behind something and roll across the floor towards you. That's a memorable one for sure.
Well, one of my sayings is, if you're meant to find it, you will. And sometimes it finds you.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
The nicest coin that I ever found, in condition-wise, another hookup with the fire department, we're inspecting a barn that was scheduled to be burnt, making sure there was nothing in there that could create a hazard of any kind while we did this. We talked to the owner, tried to get permission just to cut the beams out, to keep the beams. He said, nope, I want her gone. I got to have her gone now. We can't wait on that. They were doing some building out there. So we're going through the place, and I went up into the hayloft looking. Sometimes things are stashed in corners that can go boom, and especially in barns.
Right.
I'm down back the old wooden ladder. I'm coming down. I'm looking at the beam. Of course, you get this fine dust in barns from the hay and that kind of stuff. And on the beam, not far from the rail of the ladder, I'm coming down, I see a circular item. So I was figuring it was a punch out of an electrical box. But I reached over, picked it up, and it's a 1917 S Standing Liberty Quarter Type 1. And that thing has been there. I've got it. It had a darkened purple and yellow patina on it from laying there I don't know how many years. I've had a couple dealers look at it, and I should send it in to have it graded because they're putting it at 63 to 65.
Wow.
It's just gorgeous. I just picked it up, saw the rim, blew it off, and I'm like, that's a Standing Liberty Quarter. Slid it in the pocket, got on down to the bottom, went outside, looked at it, and I said, oh my God, that's a 17S. So,
yeah, you should probably have that one slabbed.
Keep your eyes open when you're out crawling around in these places.
Yeah, you just never know where some of these things will show up.
Yeah. I used to do a lot of tear-down walkthroughs, and I always ask them, can I look around for anything that's lost? They said, well, by all means. And I find, especially the older kitchen that still had the cabinetry that you roll out a flour bin, a sugar bin.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that. Look behind those bins because they would put a false door at the back of them, and you could reach in and there'd be a shelf, and that was the bank.
Right. Yeah, I've heard of a few people that have ran across a few items that way.
Yep. Entryways to houses, the main door to the house. It was a good luck thing to, on the door jamb, to put a coin down, then nail it. That meant good luck to the homeowners. And they'd leave it. I mean, it was left. And pry that up. a lot of times there's a $50 under one of those, and they can be pretty nice and old.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've
So that's things from the past that can get you a pretty nice coin. If they're tearing the place down and going to burn it, take a look.
And I've heard of a few people finding them even not being nailed to the frame, where it's just, laying on the top or something like that inside there on the frame. And there's been some nice coins found that way.
Yep. Kids' rooms. Kids love to hide stuff. And if you check out the air duct coming in, pull it out, take a look in there. I've found toys, I've found pennies and coins and different things like that in those places. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've seen plenty of that myself. They do like to hide things.
Now, we don't have as many of these as we used to. The old junkyard areas where they kept, cars in lines, not stacked up and crushed.
Right.
And the old cars. A buddy of mine renovates cars. Kenny does. And I went out and helped haul parts and stuff back, but I got digging around in a few of them. Glove box on one, got 2 silver quarters out of the glove box. It was a 58 Chevrolet.
Wow.
So I'll guarantee you if they just parked them and didn't go through them and tear stuff out, there's some coinage under the seats or in the glove box or
oh yeah,
whatever.
Under the seats, between the cushions, the glove box, all sorts of places. You just never know where they're going to show up at in those. And not just coins, but jewelry, too.
Yeah.
I know of a few people that have found some nice rings going through the old vehicles like that.
That's a possibility, too.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I've seen some of them. There's some nice rings, and you're just kind of, you look at something like that and you just shake your head because you're going, now, who would have left something like that behind?
Yep.
But then again,
you should have detected Grandma's basement. I've done some basements and found some things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if it's a dirt floor or if it's like a, what do they got, like a half basement where you've got, concrete floor, but then the other half of the basement is a large, like dirt crawl. Check those spots out for sure.
Yep. So, we tend to stash stuff. I do it. I stash a few bucks in the truck.
Right.
So I've got cash in there, it's down, and it's $5 or $10. But how many other people did it? And that truck's sitting out in the junkyard right now.
Exactly. And I'm so good at it that I hide it so well I can't even find it. It's a bit unfortunate and frustrating at times, but whenever I'm gone, it'll be a regular treasure hunt through here.
Yeah. Jason talking about sold off a house. People sell their house off, find out that the new buyers may find money in the walls, then sue for it.
Mm-hmm.
Some things are best left unsaid.
Yeah. And I've actually got some experience in that arena where we were called in to search for a specific item, I guess you could say, And the thing that started all of it was that this couple, the gentleman had been for years huge into collecting coins. And not only did he collect coins, but he would also keep large containers of just, when he'd come home from work, he'd throw the change from his pocket in a jar or whatever and look through it at a later date, see if he had any key dates, semi-key dates, things like that in his pocket change. He liked to do that sort of stuff as well.
Right.
And he passed away, and they had actually had an auction, a small one at that point. And for whatever reason, only the items in the garage, as well as the garage, were auctioned off.
Oh.
Fast forward a few years later, and now his widow passes away. And the kids come in, they've got to start, cleaning up the property in the house to settle the estate. And one of them takes this, just some sort of a cheap wall hanging off the wall. And they're like, well, ain't nobody gonna want this, so we might as well pitch it. And they just kind of nonchalantly threw it towards the trash can. And it hits the corner of the trash can before it goes into the trash can. And as it hits the corner of the trash can, gold Canadian maple leaves go rolling everywhere.
Oh.
And that's around the time that I was contacted. And a gentleman had been contracted to assess the value of the coins and currency and things like that had been in a collection, along with these Canadian maple leaves that had been tripped across. And he told me that he had assessed quite a number of collections, but that was probably the largest one that he had ever assessed to date, to the tune of about $300,000.
Ooh.
And
that'd be a nice day's work.
Yeah, this was all to be divided up amongst the relatives, I guess. And I had told the gentleman, I said, well, that's a nice story and all, but I don't see where this has got anything to do with me. And that's when he tells me, well, we thought, keyword, that we were done. Until the other day, one of the relatives come in and told me that they thought they were having a heart attack and they thought this was God's way of telling them that they needed to come clean. And they brought in a bag that they had snuck out of the house before things were appraised that had $10,000 in currency and 35 pounds of bullion silver coins.
Oh, man.
I said, okay, that's a nice story, but I still don't see what this has got to do with me. And he said, well, I know about you, and I dropped your name because the family still hasn't found something that they're hoping to, and they're hoping maybe you can find it. Okay. I see what you're talking about now. And the family got in contact with me, and we had discussed some things, And they said they'd get back to me, and I didn't hear anything from them for 2-3 weeks. Had just about forgotten all about it when one night I get a phone call, and it's this family that had been speaking with me. And they said, well, we had thought that we weren't going to do anything, but yesterday we moved an appliance and there was another $8,000 worth of gold showed up.
Wow.
So, if you could, we would like for you to come in and do your thing and see if there's items that we're missing or if you can find what we're looking for and all of that. And we went through this place with a fine-tooth comb. We were, in the closets, we were in the basement, we were in the crawl space, we were in the bathrooms, just everywhere. And we had found some nice pieces of jewelry. We had found, your common clad coins that were everywhere. Apparently, they had already taken, over $7,000 worth of clad into one of the credit unions prior to that they had found in the house.
Right.
And we wound up finding a small hidden room in the house that had apparently been sealed off the entire time that the family owned the house. A couple of the kids knew that there must be something on the other side of that wall, but nobody really knew what. And we gained access to that room and didn't... there were some neat, interesting antiques, but not what we were looking for what we were doing there. And I can recall getting a nice signal off of a bookcase and reaching around all over in there trying to see what in the world I was getting a signal on, and wound up feeling something with some heft to it and went to tug on this, and when I pull it out, it's a gallon Ziploc bag full of rolls of wheat pennies.
Wow.
And as I'm pulling this Ziploc bag out, I thought I heard something kind of slip down, and you hear it hit somewhere behind there. And I thought, well, what was that noise? And I reach back in there, and I'm feeling around a little more, and I feel something thick. And I'm like, well, what do we got here? And I go pulling this thing out, and it's an envelope. And when I open the envelope, it is chock full of $2 bills.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, quite a bit. But unfortunately, we never did find what we were initially searching for. And after covering everything, we think a relative may have snuck it out of the house and just hadn't said anything to anyone. But with that in mind, we told them, said, obviously you're trying to settle the estate. One thing I can provide you as a little bit of a safety net is you can work into the litigation of the sale of the property, that if there is any large sums of money found, that belongs to the estate. I said, now I'm not going to say that covers you, because I'll tell you right now, if I had bought the house and I happen to tear open a wall and I find money in it, mum's the word. I'm going, hey, I just made a nice down payment on my home, or just got some renovations made that I needed to make. He said, so not everybody is going to say anything, but if there's a large enough amount of money found, keep your ears open, because when it's a large enough amount, it's hard to keep quiet. And that's kind of the last we ever heard from him. And I keep my ears out. There have been no large amounts of money found that people are talking about. So if it was there, no one has found it, or the family did run across it and didn't say anything, because there were a couple of other areas that we got some very interesting signals off of that we told them before you go through and put everything through probate. You need to look at this area a little more in the attic. But that's on you. That's entirely up to you folks. And had also told them about a particular lighting fixture that we thought was quite interesting, because we could get quite a signal off of it, whether we were upstairs above it or whether we were downstairs below it. And when we would turn the lights on, every other fixture in the room would work, except for that one.
Huh.
So we wonder if it wasn't a dummy fixture where, maybe at one point it did work, but somebody had went in and cut the wiring to it or whatever and was using it to stash gold or silver in or something.
Right. Hey, ORH reminded us of a room number. You remember that story?
Yeah.
And he hasn't heard a thing about it. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, and if people are interested in that story, they can always go back and look through the archives. I don't remember the number now.
Room 326.
Okay, I was going to say 321, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that archive is even labeled room number 326 or room 326, something like that. And that will give you all the information is contained in that episode as to where you can find said item. If you can find said item. I'm not sure if you can or not. But I'm sure it's probably still there. And we've got the pirate on with us.
Oh, Lord.
I was going to call earlier, but then you started talking about that house and all the coins and all the gold and the dollars, and I just had to listen.
All of a sudden, the chat stopped.
I was like, I had remembered some of it, but then you started talking about some you hadn't talked about before, and I was like, oh, dang, even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean, I know the family, I know the location and all of that, but unfortunately, I can't disclose that over the air. I'm bound by contract.
Yeah, that's cool. What's sad is my grandparents' house, they bought it in, I can't remember. I think she was born in 1910, so they bought it in like 1930. But I think the house was built like right around 1900. And she passed, I started detecting, and when I got up there, they were tearing the house down. And Lord knows what was in that dirt basement. God, I'm sure there was, and I would have loved to have hit the old outhouse, because I'm sure it was filled with bottles and God knows all kinds of stuff.
Right? Yeah, you just never know. I mean, even now in the house that we live in, things will occasionally turn up in the crawl space or in the walls, things like
Doesn't
that.
necessarily
Usually it's
have to
just
be
old
gold or
bottles.
cash. Like Barb said, bottles. Some of the old bottles be in there and things like that. I mean, it's treasure all the way around. A gentleman in Chicago and his wife bought a home and saved up, bought it, and going in to renovate it and started tearing the walls out. Well, when they started opening the walls up, what they used for insulation were these one-off movie posters. They were like they're a card. And
oh, yeah.
the stuff that made national news had some of the rarest known of early horror films and some other films. They ended up selling them at auction and took in more money than they spent on the house and then some from those posters that were being used as insulation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it don't always have to be coins.
No.
And you know, the gold coin was never on my bucket list. Honestly,
that was a surprise.
I have a bucket list, and I have a I will never find bucket list. And the gold coin.
See, now you need to do away with "I will never find" in front
right,
of anything.
Never say never.
Don't know, Barb. You found the gold coin, didn't you?
Only because, being realistic, the people were dirt poor here. I mean, we hit an old farm property a couple weeks ago, me and my new detecting buddy. It goes back to, I think, 1890.
Okay.
We were there for 4 hours. I found a Model T, some part to a car.
Okay.
We didn't find one coin. The property's pretty big. That you could tell they farmed probably the 2 acres between the house and the road. We hit what part of the old barn we could. Some of it's collapsing. We were there for hours and found nothing. These people were just so dang dirt poor up here.
Well, but you don't always hunt around home.
Exactly. But you know, I found my first large cent, my one and only, in Virginia. I found my one and only seeded dime in Virginia.
Look at your gold bracelet.
I found that in Florida on the beach.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
And so, yes, I have found one gold ring here on campus, a 1941 gold class ring. It's got initials.
Uh-huh.
No school name. I Googled, I went into the archives and looked at everyone that graduated at the university here. But people come and go from this university, teachers, that I'll probably never find the owner of that gold ring. Never. Because it doesn't have
I found one, Barb, from a high school that's defunct in Lyons, Iowa, and it was a 32 class, and it said Lyons, Iowa, but no initials. So, and the high school's no longer there. What do? You put that in the paper, and you'll have 100 people saying that.
Your phone will be ringing off the wall. Hey, you found my ring.
Yeah. Yep. Well, mine's the opposite. No school name, just a date and the initials.
Ah.
So I have spent hours and hours, but I started.
Do they have a crest on of any type that may ID the
that
school?
That would have been my question.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. I'll check that.
Sometimes the crest is specific to a school.
Right. Ooh. That will be a dead giveaway as far as direction for you to go. And I've done this before.
Then you got to figure out, oh man, good luck.
Yo, but that's cool because I found it at WCU. And they were obviously playing the frisbee golf thing, whatever.
Right.
Because I found it 10 feet from that. But instructors come here for, professors for a year and they leave. So I'm
Yes.
assuming it was a professor and it was probably his parents' or grandparents' ring because it's 41. So I don't think they hire people, 89 years old to teach courses. So I'm sure it was an heir that had it and lost it. But I was able to go into their archives and look at the graduating classes. I looked at the class before, the class that year, the class the next year, and nobody with those initials had graduated. But now it does have a very specific crest on it. I will start looking at schools.
Yeah, see, that's what you need to do. Is if you're lucky enough that it has a crest, that'll give you a direction to go. It may take you some time, but that'll give you a direction to go.
I don't want to melt this ring. I really want to find the owner of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the gold coin definitely was on my I will never find this, because just realistically, what are the odds? I mean, come on. 1 in a million, 1 in 250,000. I mean, who knows, And we were there 4 years ago, because I found it a year ago. So 3 years prior, we hunted that property, and we couldn't hunt this huge field that they knew had, a camp on it. And it was just the luck of the draw. Me, my driver, and our co-driver got to the top. There were 40 people up there already. There were people that skipped the meeting and headed up there. And one of them said, I'm going this way. The other said, I'm going that way. And I went, okay, I guess I'll go this way. And was sticking my coil under the trees on the edge of the field, which they did bush hog for us. And I dug 3 square nails, and then I popped that out and was like, oh my God, because I thought it was junk. I seen the gold. It flipped in the air because I pulled the plug so hard, and it flipped, and I seen it, and I was cussing, saying all kinds of stuff that I knew it was junk. And I finally went over and looked for it. And when I seen Lady Liberty, I was like, oh my God. And I think I said it like 5 times before the kid 3 feet away from me was like, what? And I just pointed to it. It was still sitting there on the ground. And he's like, are you kidding me? Because there were 8 holes all around. My hole was closest to the trees.
They dug everywhere but there.
All his holes, he never put his coil under the tree branches. And that's where I found it. And he looked, he said, I dug all these holes. And I said, and that's why I used to, when I went to DIV, I'd see holes and go, oh God, I'm never going to find anything. And I'd walk through. Don't do it.
No.
Because they don't find everything.
Right. And you would be surprised how many people will cut a plug and then think that there's nothing but trash and flip it back over and go on.
Yep.
Oh, I've dug more bullets out of people's holes. Just like happened to, you can see there's holes here and there, and just happened to swing over. I'm like, that's a bullet. And I flipped their plug and dig 4 inches more, and there's a bullet.
Yep.
I've done the same thing, Barb. I did it at DIV. I found at least 369 calibers at DIV that they'd open the plug but didn't go deep enough, and there it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, it was a fluke, because I was like, I'm going this way, and there was a row of like cedar kind of bushes, evergreens. And so I could see all the holes, so I'm pushing my coil as far as I can push it into the dirt and, into the trees. And I come out, and it was literally on the edge of the tree branch line, and why this kid didn't hit it, I have no clue.
Huh.
Or he did and thought it was junk, so he didn't even bother.
You know what's funny? I've dug a large cent, a silver dime. I dug a mercury a couple years ago, and when I seen silver and seen it was a merc, I was cussing. They're like, "But you got silver," and I'm like, "But it ain't period silver." You know, I want Civil War.
I want the
silver,
old stuff.
Yeah, not 1944. You know.
Right.
And I think I dug my third Indian this November, but Frank, I need a carbon rod. But I'm going to order some from Amazon because I'm pretty sure it's an Indian and I want to cook it before it disintegrates anymore. And then I dug my gold coin. So I have dug silver and gold at DIV.
Frank said that weather balloon's moving as fast as it can.
Yeah. Oh, here's a bad off topic. I had a mailbox package slip, which, oh my God, I finally got a slip. I got a package. So I just knew it was from Frank. And I go to the post office. One of the packages I sent for the kids' Christmas giveaway just came back to me on the 17th of this month.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I PM'd the person and said, I got your package. And I checked the messenger, and it had the right address that he gave me. I didn't mess up. Well, he moved, and he put in a thing to transfer his mail.
Yeah, change the address.
And they put it was undeliverable, not picked up. And so they've waited over 2 months to send it back to me.
Wow.
It wasn't a detector, was it?
No, thank the Lord. It was somebody that was playing. It was someone that was playing and reading the messenger. I think something happened, and I think he was the guy that tried to join after the deadline, and I told him I would send his kid something. And I made a package for him. Is that the same guy we
talked about, Barb?
Yeah. And so, guess what? Here I told him I'd send him something because I was sorry he couldn't join. He never got it. He's never said anything to me. And when I let him know, he's like, "Are you kidding me?" And so I took a picture of the package and sent it to him. And he was like, "Oh my God, why didn't they send that to me?"
Wow.
I said, "I don't know, but I'll send it next week." Okay. So.
Well, that's a first.
Yeah. So there's another $12 out of our budget left over. Well, it was $12 to send it in December. It's probably going to be
could be 15 now.
Mike Lockelman put up on there, it takes 30 to 90 days for the USPS to redirect mail.
The thing is he put in a forwarding address and they never forwarded it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, I did win my bet for the gold coin with Bill. I didn't think he would take like 4 months to win, and he did pay up the $20. So that was nice. I went out to lunch on him.
There you go.
But this digging in Virginia, I can't tell you much. It's not in Culpeper.
Ooh.
It has been hunted once by, I think, a different group, but they only used VLFs.
So it was a group a long time ago.
Yeah. And so there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different regiments, battalions, whatever, on this property.
That ought to be good then.
And
Yeah,
there
it sounds
were
like that ought to be pretty productive.
there
Did
were
it change hands back and forth between Union and Confederate?
no, it was like a 1-day shoot 'em up, bang, 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 boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
It was actually the Yanks were going north, and they seen some of the Confederates, and they thought they were like a little teeny, not regiment, just like, a posse out looking. Well,
Yeah.
it turned out it was the end of a very large regiment. It was like
they thought it was a skirmisher group and ended up being a good size
it was
range.
actually like the ambulances and that kind of stuff coming up in the rear that they saw, and they tried to attack, and then, oh my God, guess what? No, you're like in deep caca because there's these 3 massive Confederate regiments all around.
Yeah, you just stepped in it.
Yeah, they basically stepped in it, and so there were, I can't tell the states, but there were 3 different state regiments from the north, like in between the batteries on the right and the feds on the left, and the northernist group like hightailed it like chickens, and so did the southern group, which kind of left the guys in the middle, which got slaughtered. Till the guys on the south came back to defend them, but it was like an all-day massive battle. And so, reading the history, because when they posted the map, they didn't tell where it was. Well, I sent it to friends, and they told me, oh, I know where that is. And a bunch of them went to the river. And so I'm praying to God that the river is on the property because I'm taking my knots, because I think there's going to be a lot of stuff in the river.
There you go.
Was that the Rappahannock?
Mm-hmm.
I know where it's at.
Well, there's numerous.
Well, I'm
yeah,
what
but
you're talking about.
You've already given enough information that it wouldn't take too many people too long to figure it out. Yeah.
Well, there's actually 4 different fords there, and there are battles at each of them, and it's one of the lesser ones. So you get a choice of 4 different fords, 4 different battles. They're,
hope the water's down the Rappahannock, that they don't get a lot of rain, where you can get in there and wait at the ford.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, I'm going to start with my GPX day one, but I'm because there's going to be stuff everywhere. I think.
Good possibility.
The VLFs have probably really cleared out the shallow finds, but you don't know. There could be coins lost. There could be, there's going to be a lot of bullets. I didn't read anywhere where any of the cannons were ever fired. Why, I don't know. When you consider, the feds were way off to the left, but you never know. They might have, and it's just not in the history books. You don't know.
Right.
Oh,
well, on that note,
the Rappahannock starting southeast, I think it is, of Madison Station, all the way towards
the place where I found the gold coin was in Warrenton, which the Rappahannock runs right through there too.
Yep.
And so Earl from Virginia actually found a plate right down on the river on that property 4 years ago when we were there. So there were numerous camps, numerous skirmishes, numerous battles all up and down that river.
That river was fought over, and after they lost at Gettysburg, the Confederates retreated to the area along the Rappahannock, set up winter camp.
Yep.
And many of them were on Madison's ground at that time, all the way up and down that line. And I've hunted with some of the guys from there along the Rappahannock. And, oh my God, the lead, the bullets,
Right.
buttons.
I mean, there's one story I read about one of the officers that finally made it to the river, and he was like, I basically had to unload my pockets because I was sinking. You know, unload his pockets of all the lead he had to fire. And so I'm hoping at least some of the river is on the property. We weren't given the property lines. We were just given the battle map. And so I don't know what part of that battle is in grounds, out of grounds, you know, out of property lines. And we won't get that till probably 2-3 days beforehand.
Right.
But there could be anything, because just think, you got 300, 400, 500 Yankees running like chickens to the river. You've got all the Confederates running after them, shooting at them. There's got to be stuff all over the place.
That's where you'll find your musket, Barb, in the water.
I'm sure she'll be all right with that.
Yep. And so, day 3, I am dedicating, if we have access to the water, I am dedicating my knocks to the water.
There you go.
Well, good luck with it.
But you know what? Gold's out there for you, Bill. Somewhere. Maybe.
There you go. Well, you guys, I got to get off. I've got to...
Yeah, so do I.
So do I. I'm going to go. Bye. See you.
Bye, Barb. And everybody tuning in, I see some new names. Roger King, you're near Quincy, Illinois, I see. I'm not that far from you. I hunt that area down there quite a lot, especially up toward Keokuk over in the Missouri. My nephew lives in Quincy. So, anyway, thanks for having me on, buddy.
Yeah, good stories for sure. And maybe that answers Chris's questions about the story of the gold coin.
There you go. I hope so. And, well, you guys down there, what's it going to be? Near 70 for you tomorrow?
I believe 60.
Well, I'd take 60 over the crap we're getting right now. So,
anyway, yeah, I'm not complaining. No,
I think that's all going to miss you guys. It's going to draw warm and moisture up to you. That's about it. So, have a great one. Stay safe out there.
Stay safe.
All right, sir. Bye-bye.
All right. For everyone else, I think I'm going to roll on out of here too, but we thank everyone for dropping in. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the tales, the stories, and all of that. And who knows? We'll catch you on the next one. We'll see what's going on. I know I do have a small project coming up in the very near future that has to be a good weather day project, and if it happens to fall on a show day, then who knows, it may be an archive. We'll have to see what happens. Until the next one, though, have a wonderful evening, folks. We're out of here.